In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the second thing that can hold you back as a lecturer from making high-quality teaching videos. Having to turn your air conditioning off when it's nearly 40 degrees outside, that's one thing that can make it difficult making teaching videos, but that's not what I'm going to talk about today, but it might explain the sweating. No, I'm going to talk about something else. It's the thing you have to keep changing your videos because you have to keep changing your damned assessments. And I'll tell you about that in this video. In some universities, lecturers are being told that they can't use the same assessment more than once. So if you set an essay for your students one semester, you have to set a very different essay in the next semester, even though it's different students. The problem is that when those assessments are scaffolded into your teaching, and therefore into your teaching videos, that means that when you change the assessment, you have to make new videos. And that can hold you back from investing a lot of time in creating good teaching videos because you don't have the time to do it when those videos have such a short shelf life, that you're only going to use the video once. The only solution, I think, is that you either put out lower quality videos that are about the assessments, and then you don't refer at all to those assessments in your other videos in the hope that those other videos will last a bit longer. They don't necessarily last longer. I'll get to that. Which is what actually this is what this whole video thing is about. But if the other videos could last a bit longer, then maybe you just make those videos on assessments a little lower quality, spend a little less time on them because you're going to have to keep redoing them every year. But the problem with that is that those videos on the assessments might be less engaging for students. And also the materials on the assessments won't be properly scaffolded into the rest of the teaching materials because they're in their own separate little videos. And it's not an ideal solution. But why are universities asking lecturers to change their assessments every year or even more than that? Well, mostly it's all about students cheating, or rather, it's the fear that students will cheat. So the argument is that if you use the same assessment over a number of years, students can use the work of previous students to cheat. But that isn't much of an argument these days because universities use software like Turnitin, which means all students' written assignments have to be submitted via that software, and that software then stores those assignments in a database. And if another assignment comes in at a later time that's the same or very similar as one of those stored in the database, it gets flagged as potentially plagiarized, or euphemistically, it's referred to as having a high similarity score. So that kind of deals with the problem. That stops students submitting other students' work because they'll get pinged by the software. But even though we've got that software, it's still believed that if students know you're using the same assessment each year, it's just going to give them extra time to cheat, or at least to find other ways of cheating, such as lining up a contract cheater, someone they pay to write the assignment for them. But contract cheaters aren't in such high demand that a student has to book them months in advance, so that's a silly argument. But the general idea is that if students see the assessment way in advance, they have more time to figure out a way of cheating it. But here's the problem. Giving students more time to do their assignments is not actually increasing the chances they might cheat. It's reducing those chances. One of the main reasons students cheat, and not many of them cheat, by the way, but those who do, one of the main reasons is they don't feel they've got enough time to do the assignment. A student thinks that they could put in a really good assignment if they had enough time to do it, if they could do it properly, but they don't have enough time, so they look for other options. And one option a small number of students consider is to cheat. Now, that would be wrong for them to do that, to cheat, but, they do have a point. the ability to complete an assignment in, say, 2 weeks, which is pretty standard lead-in time that students get, the time between them getting content that they need to use for the assignment and then having to submit the assignment. So it's 2 weeks, it's not long. The ability to do that in that short time frame is not assessed. It's not a learning outcome that's explicitly assessed. Students don't get marks for doing their assignment on time, but they do get penalties for not doing it on time. They get late penalties. And there's an inherent fairness about that, which I talk about in a previous video. I'll put a link up for that for you in the description box, and if I can figure out how, in a little box up here. So, yeah, have a watch of that if you want to see what's wrong with late penalties. There's lots of things wrong with late penalties. Why am I talking about this? Well, it's because universities and university managers can react to a lecturer making their videos on their assessments accessible to the public as increasing the risk of students cheating. And I think that might have happened to me. At least, I was told to remove all the videos where I talked about my assessments. So in the previous video, that's what I was talking about. They told me to remove all my videos, and I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And then they said, okay, you can keep some of them up on YouTube, but there are other videos that you have to remove, and those are the ones that they insisted I remove. The videos where I talk about the assessments that I set. So it wasn't fully explained to me what this was all about, but that's kind of what it seems to be about, as far as I can tell. So that explains why, if you've been following my channel, you might have, I don't know if you noticed, but a few videos disappeared. They went offline, and that's why. So it seems to me that the reason I was asked to take those videos down was because management felt it increased opportunities for students to cheat. That's a flawed argument. Well, I think it's a flawed argument, because having those videos online meant that students could see them well in advance of enrolling in my classes, and it gave them much more time to plan for the assignment, much more time preparing so that they could complete the assignment by the deadline. Actually, this type of what I consider to be flawed thinking is pretty indicative of how the university sector appears, well, it appears to me at least, to spend more time thinking about how students plagiarize than on why students plagiarize. So if they devise strategies to counter the how but not the why, then they end up making silly decisions. If they thought about the why, maybe they wouldn't have asked me to remove my videos from YouTube. Well, that's what I think, at least. So if you restrict the amount of time a student has to complete their assignment, which you're doing if you change the assessment every year, but also if you're reducing students' access to that information about the assessment in terms of how far ahead in time they get that information, then you could actually be giving students more reasons to cheat because they've got less time to prepare. So not only is this bad practice in regard to seeking to prevent plagiarism, it has that side effect of making it harder for lecturers to produce decent quality or high quality videos, because you have to keep making new videos every time your assessment changes. And it also stops you making your videos publicly accessible. So it's a double whammy, really. Now, in my next video, I want to talk to you about the third problem, the final problem that makes it tough creating quality videos for teaching. And that's the way quality has been oddly defined in universities. And if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, you'll get notified when that video goes online. So, thanks for watching this one, and till next time, ta-da.